Hello everyone, this is Adelaide Eternal and you're with Sylvan McClinton bringing you another Highlander deck tech. This time we are talking about Tolarian Draw 7s. So as you can see, Tolarian Academy is the key of the deck. We're just going to ignore all the mana over here, but I've placed over here the things that just basically tap for mana or ramp you. And we're going to focus on the engine of the deck, Tolarian Academy. So in this pile here, we have all the ways to find Tolarian Academy. If we find Tolarian Academy, we're going to have a good day. Generally, the deck can function via Tolarian Academy generating 50, 60, 70 mana, or the infinite mana combo on Basalt Monolith and Rings of Brighthearth. But this is our primary win con, hence the name of the deck. So if we look at the multiple ways to find it, so Wargate for 0, for example, Reap and Sow without Entwine, Transmute Tolaria West to find Tolarian Academy, Expedition Map to find it, Trinket Mage to find Expedition Map to find Tolarian Academy, and Fabricate to find Expedition Map, Tolarian Academy, and even Dizzy Spell. Alright, transmuting this into Crop Rotation or Expedition Map will also net you a Tolarian Academy. So there's a variety of ways to find it, but if you have a situation where your opponent deals with Tolarian Academy by a Wasteland effect, you have Petrified Field to return it, or Crucible of Worlds as well. So, fundamentally, if Tolarian Academy is tapping for 6 mana and then the next turn tapping for 8 mana and 10 mana and so on, why not speed it up and find a way to untap it? So this way you can generate additional mana in the same turn. So this Candelabra of Tawnos and Minamo and Deserted Temple all function in a way of, say, untap one land. However, you can also combo Tawnos's Candelabra with Voltaic Key. So you're going to be able to untap it multiple times. Furthermore, you can copy the untap effect of Candelabra of Tawnos with Rings of Brighthearth, which will allow you to untap it again and tap the Tolarian Academy multiple times in the meantime. You've also got one-off effects like Frantic Search and Ghostly Flicker, both of which essentially function to blink or untap Tolarian Academy. Now, we also have the infinite combo here with infinite colourless mana, so be careful with what you're actually able to do with colourless mana. There are a variety of ways to win the game, but you can't always win the game with only colourless. You're going to need large amounts of blue as well for alternate win cons. But in the event that you have found your Tolarian Academy, these cards here are not necessarily dead. Same with Transmute Artifact. Once you've found the Basalt Monolith Rings of Brighthearth, you can use the Transmute Artifact to, say, find Candelabra of Tawnos if you've now already found Tolarian Academy. You can also use it to find a variety of key pieces when the game doesn't necessarily go your way. So if you're playing against blue, Defense Grid is extremely important in shutting off counterspells, and also Rishadan Port is very useful for tapping them down on their turn, going to your turn, and being able to combo off with impunity. The creature matchups are also not necessarily easy, so sometimes Tangle Wiring down your opponent's dudes or having a Glacial Chasm just to buy a bunch of turns is useful. Furthermore, Academy Ruins lets you return artifacts that have been destroyed in the course of your game, so this is often very useful, especially when returning one of the 2 key pieces here when they destroy it or Thoughtseize it away. And we've also got the Welding Jar just to prevent that preemptively. Now, in addition to all of these great effects, we also have the Crucible of Worlds Fast Bond combo, which allows you to essentially play all of those lands that you will be discarding. But you also have the additional win con here with Zuran Orb, allowing you to gain infinite life by paying 1 mana to play all those lands from your graveyard and then replaying them again and sacrificing them and replaying them, getting infinite life. So now let's look at the, now that we have the engine for your mana, let's look at the engine for your cards. So we can draw 7, hence the name of Timetwister, Memory Jar, and Time Spiral, and of these, the best card really is Timetwister. You'll note that it's an old card, so it doesn't actually exile itself when as part of the effect. So it actually goes into your graveyard, allowing you to return it with Eternal Witness, and then play it again. Drift of Phantasms transmutes into the 3-drop Timetwister as well as finding your infinite colourless mana combo. Bring to Light can also be used to converge for Timetwister, and you can, in the off chance that you actually have 5 colours of mana off the different Seat of the Synod type lands and also Chromatic Lantern, you can Bring to Light into Memory Jar if you need to. So by using these effects over and over again, you'll draw through a large portion of your deck, but you don't necessarily need to draw the whole thing. All you need to do is find one of your infinite mana or ridiculously large amount of mana combos, and then do one of these effects. So Ugin, for example, in the main deck, will just exile your creature opponent's board and allow you to stabilize. Also, it has an ultimate, and this could happen if you Time Warp. So Time Warp will allow you to get extra turns, but unlike the 2 mana Time Walk, the 5 mana is usually unplayable in every other deck. But this deck, when you're generating large amounts of mana, it is totally playable and can be returned by Eternal Witness. After you shuffle it back into your deck, you can draw it again and Time Warp again. So Tezzeret the Seeker is another main deck win con, which basically allows you to untap 2 artifacts on one turn, and then after a Time Warp turn, plus or minus it to basically turn all of your artifacts into 5/5s and beat for the win. But the main win cons here are Living Wish and Cunning Wish. So if you're able to generate your large amounts of mana and you have one of these, you've basically won the game, because we're going to pop out our sideboard and you'll see the different ways. So if you have infinite mana or at least a large amount of mana and some 3 blue, you can make your opponent draw all their cards in their deck. Also, you can capsize all of their permanents. Just buy back it constantly and return them all. And Emrakul, whilst you don't need infinite mana for this one, it essentially wins the game. Now, what if things don't go your way? You can use one of those tutors to find Nature's Claim to kill a Blood Moon, for example, or Stern Proctor to basically bounce that Blood Moon, or bounce that artifact that's holding you down like a Null Rod, and Rexage does the same. So you've also got these miscellaneous cards, so sometimes you just need to use one of those tutors, those wishes, for value. So you just needed to get that additional amount of mana to and untap your lands. Or you can tutor out that Maze of Ith against those creature decks, or Thought Not Seer against those control decks to take out that pesky counterspell or interaction piece. Last of all, we have our true hate pieces. So these are common in other decks as well, like Choke. Tabernacle's great against creature decks, and then also shutting off Splinter Twin combos are also great. So I hope you've enjoyed this deck. It's really fun. Sleeve it up. This was just a 7-minute overview. You'll find that once you play the deck, you'll find so many great little interactions between cards. So enjoy. Thank you very much for listening. We're Adelaide Eternal. We'll see you next time.